Hello Graphite Knights, and in this video we are going to be making the Ruinous Tunnel. And with it, we're going to get to practice some perspective, so that's good. It's always good to get perspective, right? For us, our perspective is just a 1-point perspective. So if you think about it, if you've never done 1 point, you got to think of a dot, okay? That dot runs along the horizon. It's the thing that everything vanishes into. You ever driving down the road and you're like, wow, this road looks like it just gets smaller the further we go. That's perspective. And so what you can do is you can draw a bunch of straight lines out of that and then follow those lines to see where things that are actually like lined up with each other would go. And so we use that for our pillars. They don't have to be perfect. You see mine aren't perfectly lining up with the lines, and that's because this is a ruinous tunnel. This isn't a rustic tunnel or an elegant tunnel or the tunnel you go to on sweet little dinner dates. This is the ruinous tunnel, and that means it's a little bit ruined. And so, kind of a fun tidbit about it. A lot of damage, a lot of structural damage over the years. Not a lot of people come here for fun. But the Graphite Knight does. And the Graphite Knight comes here because he is looking for bag rock. As I've said in other videos, if you've been watching this week, we are working on building a graphic novel that is literally developing over the course of this year. Hopefully, will be done by this year through the form of these videos. Nothing is canonized until it's published, but you get to hear what the story's looking like as of right now, which is pretty exciting. And so this is going to be a panel in it. We're going to have the Graphite Knight, the Graph Knight, walk through this tunnel. You'll get to see him in 3 different spots. We're going to be putting, obviously, there's a bunch of rock features all around these pillars, as well as some like torchlit little coves. I don't know, magically lit. That's going to be part of this, I'm thinking, is like something weird about the ruins of Lentok. One of the reasons people think it's haunted is because the place just never stops burning flames, which, isn't normal unless it's like Hanukkah or something, which, again, was still not normal. They made a whole holiday out of that bad boy, and fair enough. So we have a tile path, but again, really beat up tile path. This I am also using perspective. I'm thinking about like, okay, even if these tiles are straight, looking down that road, it's going to look like it gets thinner. So that's why they all tilt inward as you move closer to that horizon line. And we read it and we're like, oh no, that actually makes sense. It's not too jostling for our brains, which is a sweet place to be, right? Like we want to be able to read it. We want it to feel good and make sense. I did decide to make the path door in the back smaller because it's so close to the horizon. Even if it's a big door, it should at least be smaller than the pillars, right? That are closer to us. So filling out the stones, it's a lot of detail work right now, but the detail is worth it. And honestly, if you're drawing along with me, you want to color along with me using colored pencils or digital, whatever you like to do, it's totally okay. It's a lot easier to color in than it is to do the line work, I think, because you can just put one base color down and you can be set. You can be good to go. Aside from this, I'm still trying to decide what okay, so we've got the ruins of Lentok. Bogrok is there. Is he the reason that the people aren't there anymore? I don't think so, because it's like the rumors just coming out that he is there. Is like who were the people? Who were they? I'm working on like a front of what Lentok looks like, so we'll get to see that. My heart is always like, oh, let's do dwarves, but based on the statues I'm building there, I don't think they're going to be dwarves. They do have these coves here. Like they clearly intended for this to be underground, which again is I think why my heart is like, let's do dwarves, right? Because they bury deep into the mountains, kind of thing. But no, these are people. Like not that dwarves aren't people. Like these are like, if you're thinking of fantasy races, these are just like human, generic, right? Maybe we can go with elves. The statues are tall. That's why I'm leaning that way. Like, okay, we need someone that's typical stature. Now we're going to start coloring. I'm going to use different tones on things, and so the things that I'm thinking of as like man-made structures, so those would be the pillars, those would be the coves. I'm leaning more towards like a cool gray feeling. The actual rock faces on the top, I'm aiming for like a purple feeling. So if you could think of like blue-gray, purple-gray, and then the stones on the bottom, I want to be like warmer, feel like a brown or a red-gray. And then we're going to more of a tan. We're going to like start building out our light sources once we have the basic colors blocked. And you can see again, like I said, the stone pattern has paid off in the line art in a way that even if we left that base just as a base, it looks pretty good. I'm not angry at it. I think we can do more. And we're going to do more because we want this thing to look absolutely sick. I add some white to where the fire would start and then begin filling out colors around it. So you're going to want to move from white to yellow to orange to red depending on the distance away the light is, because it's less strong. In the areas where like red casts, there's less strength to that light typically. It's at least less warm, and your center of your light is going to have like the greatest warmth source. And so where there are strong whites casting off, it's either because the material is really polished or because it's really close to the flame. It's looking good, feeling good. We're going to also try and add some cool tones in there too, so some shadows. We have to fill out this whole floor, which is kind of a labor of love. But then we also get to start adding some juts, and I'm trying to add faces to the rocks. So not being too smooth with my shading, but trying to actually give some like somewhat organic but harsh edges to it. Then also giving shadow to the backside where the pillars would be kind of blocking light, just so that it's not as, as easy to read back there, because it shouldn't be as easy to read back there because it should be shadow. And now I'm taking my black, which really is just my pencil, and I'm giving it all I've got to darken up some areas. Fantasy, I think, looks good with some black and some whites in there. They can muddy things up for sure, but I think as a general rule of thumb, if you're smart about it, you're willing to erase when you need to, I think it's a pretty good feature to have. I think it makes it fun. I darken up my original lines. I re-bolden them just so they stand out still, and then I add some more light sources just to play around with it and see what we think. I'm thinking that the higher contrast is good, maybe a little too much blue, so if we could erase just some of that, I think that would be good. But I'm liking this. I'm liking this as a path. I feel like this is a path that like we could visually enjoy seeing our character walk down. It speaks of an ancient city, but also of some danger ahead. Thanks guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.